but a man named Alex Pretti, who is a 37-year-old and was a nurse at a veterans hospital, showed up at a protest of some sort that was coordinated online. He was armed, and he ends up getting shot and killed by ICE agents. Now, I've watched the video, the Zapruder film of it all many times. I'm sure as many of you have as well, from every different angle and the slow-mo. And I got to be honest with you, I don't exactly see why he got shot. I just don't. And that's something that's important. I'm trying to be intellectually honest with you. As my friend and mentor, Dennis Prager, would say, first tell the truth, then give your opinion. The truth is, I don't know why he was shot. That said, here is the most important part here. Why was this guy showing up at an ICE, at a place where ICE was present, trying to enforce the law? Of course, he was trying to disrupt things. And he shows up armed. We're going to talk to Dr. A.W.R. Hawkins, which is our top gun expert at Breitbart News, later in the show. And I'm going to get his take on all this stuff. This is a guy who thinks there should be zero gun controls. But one thing I'm going to ask him, do you think it's smart? When ICE is trying to enforce the law, do you believe that it's smart to show up armed? And a lot of people, I'm seeing these comparisons online. Well, it's just like Kyle Rittenhouse showing up in protests after George Floyd. And didn't we back him when he shot someone? Well, we did, but he showed up specifically because there was no law enforcement present. That's why he was there. And I'll tell you, I wasn't the one who was the first out of the gate saying, hey, we got to defend Kyle Rittenhouse to the hilt. The more we learned about it, the more it looked like he was the one who was being hunted down and just defended himself. That's what we learned over time. And I think people who knee-jerk defended him it was a bit rash. It worked out for you if you did. But this is completely different because this guy is showing up as part of a group of people who are intentionally trying to disrupt ICE, trying to enforce our laws, and doing so while armed with a lot of ammunition. Now, why would you want to do this if you do not have a death wish? And that begs the question, did he have a death wish? Maybe not. I don't know. I've never met or talked to Alex Pretti. But I'll tell you, maybe the next person will, and that's why I'm putting a marker down on this. Because if you saw the media reaction online, it's not just the establishment news, it's not just the celebrity class who did their perfunctory, this is an outrage, we got to defund ICE. It's not just far left politicians, but you're really starting to see this one penetrate into the broader culture. And I make a point to have my political followers I follow on social media, and also just general people in sports, entertainment, hobbies. And you saw a lot of people coming out against ICE over the weekend. A lot of protests on the 5 freeway when I'm driving down to the studio, people putting up poster boards, defund ICE, F ICE, not the letter, using the word. All that's happening. So the left feels like they've got a cultural moment here, and they're doing it with martyrs. Left-wing activists who are showing up knowing that they're inviting violence from ICE on purpose. They're doing it intentionally because they believe that the media and the public and the broader cultural consensus will force feed people the notion that all this is ICE's fault. It's not the Somali fraudsters that ICE is trying to crack down on, and is not these organized networks of leftists that are trying to intentionally disrupt law enforcement operations. Because they feel like if they get harmed, then they will be martyrs for the cause. They will create energy for their left-wing causes. Now, I'm not saying this guy wanted to die or thought he was going to die, but I'm telling you that if he wanted to, he would not have behaved any differently. Checking in on Sean this morning. Happy to see Sean did not get shot over the weekend. Congratulations, Sean. But why not? Because I'm guessing, Sean, did you show up at any ICE protests in Minneapolis over the weekend? No, he did not. He's shaking his head. He's acting like that's an absurd question, because it is. So this is the point I've been trying to make. I made it all last week. I will continue to make it. Don't show up at these things if you want to live. And if you're not that focused on living, if you're more focused on advancing your political narrative, show up armed. Because if ICE becomes aware of that, and you're in a chaotic situation, things are moving very quickly, then perhaps, you're running a pretty big risk. So I'll tell you, the number one way to not get shot by ICE is to be an American citizen and not disrupt ICE functions. Now, if you want to get shot, then show up armed and try to be disruptive. It's just a good thing to note. Fox did a big report over the weekend. There's a far left network that mobilized right before the shooting. And they had put Alex Pretti in harm's way, making him a martyr. There's encrypted signal messages showing rapid responders mobilized demonstrators to harass federal agents. A socialist group capitalized on the killings right away to foment the protests. That's the math here. They think they've got us politically. They think that no matter how this shakes out, that ICE is going to look like the Gestapo. And that's why you're seeing all these left-wing politicians, every Democrat who's out there saying the most radical stuff because they think it's going to help them. They think it's going to work for them. Let's play Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, please. Cut 10.
Immediately preceding that incident, an ICE officer had pushed violently a woman to the ground, and he had come over to help get her up. And that is what precipitated this incident that very quickly led to an execution, a deadly shooting in the street.
An execution. The guy showed up voluntarily to protest ICE armed. It's an execution. But it doesn't, they'll never stop. They'll never try to use reasonable rhetoric. They'll never actually try to sort out what happens. They see blood. They see an opportunity politically. Let's play cut 1. Tampoon Timmy Walls, please.
We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside. Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota.
I mean,
and there's one person who can end this now.
It's probably you, Tampoon Timmy. Tell people to chill out and go home. But he won't do that because he likes the politics of it all. I cannot help but comment again on that androgynous, super enthusiastic sign language interpreter. Can we play it one more time? We need to play the audio, but you got to show it to the audio. I can't even comment on this absurd comment because of the absurd visuals of it. Can we play it on screen, guys?
We have got children in Minnesota
so fired up,
hiding in their houses.
This is her or his big moment. I mean, who knows? You cannot tell what this person. Are these real signs? Well, someone who knows sign language in the audience who's watching the streams, please call in or email me aloha@alexmarlow.com. Tell me what's going on. Anne Frank died of typhus when she was 15, and she was deported to Auschwitz. There's so many Jewish children in particular who were killed during the Holocaust. I think it was like 7 figures, right? I mean, it was obviously millions of Jews were killed during the Holocaust. And Tampoon Timmy is acting like one guy who shows up, or actually now it's 2 people, one who rams an ICE agent with their car, and the other one who shows up armed to a ICE enforcement operation to disrupt it. This is the same as child Anne Frank being trapped, deported, and dying of a horrific disease, all before her 16th birthday. You would think that he get laughed out of public life for saying such things. No, it probably helps his presidential ambitions.